Right, I've been doing a lot of talking about the AD UDYR variety, but we're going to ward the Raptors here and start in the blue, and we're going to start with, obviously, Q. When you're doing single target starts, that's what you want, versus the R start when you're doing AoE camps. Obvious reasons, max HP on a single target is going to work better here. Now, while we do like the PTA, the Stride Breaker and the Trinity Force, and all these items I've put forth on the main channel, it is tough to actually find, this is no joke, high elo UDYRs actively playing this style. It does work, without a doubt, but there is a certain degree of, hey, why don't you just play, AP and tank? Because that typically will do better in this particular arena when you're dealing with having, skillful Yones, and you got Aurelias, and you got Vaynes, you need a bit of AP, and obviously there's an Elise, and a Darius, and a Victor, and a Jhin, and you need a front line. It's just better positioning, right? So, we obviously are 1 point into each of those abilities, minus the E. Elise is starting on the right side, which means she will be slower. We understand this. That's why there was a ward on this Raptor. There is some psycho nonsense with invades going on with Elise. No need to do that whatsoever to win games, but if you're the UDYR, you can protect yourself with a bit of vision. Now, bottom lane is being shoved in as expected. That's why you could start top and go down, but you could also say, okay, look, Darius and Aurelia, I want to snowball this lane. Maybe I want to avoid matching up against the Elise because I think she'll try and dive this lane, which is honestly a reasonable assumption. But at this point, that's all assumptions, game plans, and expectations. And the reality of jungling is that you have to adapt to what you see. Now, we would have noticed that the Darius dipped down toward this. You got to know that. It's been pinged out. We see this. At this stage, we have the support moving up here, disappearing, all right, hitting the plant. So now Elise knows exactly where the UDYR is. UDYR knows that this is warded. He would have tracked the timer on it. He's expecting potentially a dive here. Decides to go all in on the Darius there. We saw the Elise move. Be careful of the cocoon and the hook and the death that might befall you. Try and survive as best you can. We obviously have Awaken W if we need it. There we go. And we make sure we survive. So, you gotta head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. At this point, again, you don't know where Elise is. You're kind of playing a little bit of a guessing game. Elise now does know where you are. And, track this ward, track the timer, and in this case, Darius got a little bit too far out in front, so we burn his flash. We save our flash, which is huge, and now we can swap to the other side. Elise showed up there, by the way, level 3, and with 20 CS. So straight up, all right, she's going to fall back down to her Scuttle Crab. She had in a blue buff, so her blue buff is still available. Now, from Elise's angle, you could justifiably just ignore the blue as she's done and swap to this side. I don't know necessarily why you would if this lane is going to be basing and, this crab should be taken. I know you're worried a little bit maybe about the counter jungling, but I doubt the UDYR is going to do this when the lane looks like, just nonsense. The UDYR takes it to the bottom scuttle. We'll carry on sequencing. That's our whole goal here as an UDYR. Good ward by the Yone using that prio. The Elise, on the other hand, now could have just afforded herself to do this, repeat gank this if she wanted, then she can worry about the counter jungling, right? Or she can base and now match up a little bit better. So let's see exactly how it transpires. I feel like Elise cut out the blue there without too much consideration. The flash burned by the UDYR there on that decisive gank gives a kill to the Aurelia. Remember, your ganks, even if you don't get kills, they do things. Elise is super duper slow here. This is really inefficient clearing overall from her. I'm not sure why she's trying to match up an UDYR in this sense, but this is what UDYR does well, isn't it? We sequence, we scale, we counter jungle, and we don't necessarily want to run into things like Elise early on when you have this great deficit. Now, obviously, these play styles are not as interesting, in the first two phases, but now they do get a little bit interesting, right? Because at this stage, the Elise has done this, she's going to resequence this, she's going to look to perhaps gank this. This is where you got to think a little bit as a farming jungler or as an UDYR in particular, because you're going to slide into the side bush here, expecting Elise to maybe show up in the vicinity, and you want to kind of counter gank that. So let's see if we do achieve anything here. Aurelia doing a bit of baiting. Soraka's going for the gank there. There's the stun. We can go for another one, the silence and the stun. That's a dead Darius. Again, moving ahead of the Elise there. clearing faster. Well, that sucks. Well, I'm sad. The idea is still good though. Get ahead of her, expect her, make the counter gank. It really goes for some Omega Flash ease there. Maybe a little bit overzealous, but that's okay with me. I think if we can chase this down. But still, at this point, I'm feeling a little uneasy. I don't want to overcommit, but Darius is out of position. We do have our flash up as well. Yone's out of position. He's going to ult, which means we can follow that through. Okay, Yone delivers beautifully for us, gives us a numbers advantage. It is 6:30, so obviously we have level 6 is available. We're going to flash on the Nami there to burn her flash. You know, I don't like the dance of dances here. It's a little bit, right? But I like the fact that we clear, we go ahead, we know Elise is going to be clearing up here as well, but Elise is just slower. You're going to beat her at this. So Udria gets advantages here, right? We gank the Darius before Elise can dive the Darius. We gank the Darius again before the Elise can dive the Darius. We snack one grub here. I don't really like being here. I don't like this coin flip. Honestly, this is not good anymore. It's not good. This was huge. We should have been able to kill Darius. We didn't. That sucks. Yone delivers, amazingly, for the first time, I think, in a few weeks, we've seen a Yone deliver. We capitalize, we get a kill. Don't flash on the Nami. Turn, start to suck her up, smite it if you want to grab it. If it looks like this again, because of course Darius will be coming out of base here, even if he's level 5. Out. Just leave. You took the first grub, let Elise suffer on these, swap over, just do a dragon, counter jungle her, dive bot lane, just go play for the other side of the map. I don't like dancing around this so much. Not at all. There's the early ult. She's going to kill the Nami, and I'm saying this because I don't care necessarily if we coin flip in our favor here. I mean, we certainly did coin flip in our favor. You have no idea if that's going to play out this way. I mean, look, we look at 7:30, and when did we get up here? Just 5:45. It's almost 2 minutes we've been up here, right? So you do this, you do this, you do this. She goes all in. You're like, okay, I'm not sure. Yone does this. You're like, all right, cool. There's no reason now to chase this. We have numbers advantage fully. If they want to contest again, Yone can force. He does have flash. We can immediately turn the flying dog. We can immediately turn and do this, the grubbies here, and then decide to bounce or not. Now, fortunately, we overcommitted on the Nami. We do burn a flash, which is good. But now again, we're doing this. Aurelia wants to go to the crashing wave. We have to smite this and get out. We almost die again. Aurelia actually sacrifices her lane to move down, and now she has her ult available. She's gonna make the play here. So look, I get it, but remember, in your MMR ranges, is the Yone perhaps gonna do that? Yes. Is your Aurelia gonna do that? Be honest. The top lane Aurelia gonna sacrifice more CS and waves for this. Probably not. So that's where my mindset comes from, just speaking to the 99%. Obviously, if the plays are made, play off of this. Don't go back to base if you're watching this, right? Like, that's also the thing. If you decide to go back to base here to swap over and let Elise struggle in this, and the relay rotates down, don't carry through with your base. Cancel and join in. Nice dynamic kind of scenario. Now, here's where things get interesting. We can anticipate 99% that the Elise should swap over in theory, right? In theory, should swap over to the other side. Maybe goes through here. Obviously, she's going to be going to the top side here for her camps. This is not something we know. This is not something we know at all. The logic for me is as follows. Yeah, these two camps will be our highest experienced camps, but then you look at this. Aurelia has 1,000 golden pockets. She's low mana. This guy's now really being screwed. This is a losing lane from Elise's perspective. You know UDYR now is done, potentially going to be looking for the bottom lane to snowball that. I would prefer the Elise to apply pressure here because we know that the UDYR is still here. Get out ahead of him like he's been getting out ahead of you. Not go topside again, but let's see how it plays out. The point of the whole discussion then for UDYR is, do you do the Raptors in red and kind of go down, or do you do the quadrant reset and collapse? So Elise makes this play, and again, you don't know this as UDYR, but when you see this, you go, oh, well, you know, I kind of expected her to go to the bottom side. Huh. And then you just reconcile that with your decision making. That's it. Basically now, how do they always get the freest ganks, man? So basically now you think, okay, well, because she's here, I can just finish up the quadrant and reset, no stress, which is true, which is 100% true. That's exactly what we can do. But Elise could have easily gone to the bottom side, in which case, don't do your Krugs if you don't need to reset all the way down. Now, Elise does all three lanes. And at this point, if you're an UDYR, angle of approach here is kind of important. No, man. Well, this is a bit tragic. I just want to map scale. Well, We're just waiting for that. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we'll take one, hopefully. Good. Elise is now a bit out of position. She's just going to go for the execute here. Could have saved us might for that, but that's fine. The Elise decided to swap her sequencing to say, look, I expect UDYR to expect this, and therefore I'm going to go top lane. So it's a whole mind game thing going on, but the point more so from UDYR's perspective is, do I need to cut out the Krugs to collapse down, or should I do the top quadrant base buy and then do exactly what he's done, which is absolutely fine. It's a standard play. Now, because Elise committed a lot here on the map to get some kills back and basically to swing this lane in her favor, the UDYR now basically needs to say, all right. We're probably losing in gold because of the shutdowns. Let me go counter jungling. Elise should know that there's going to be counter jungling now, but she's put herself in a bit of a hole. Victor's going to rotate over. Nami doesn't have flash from the kill we previously had. This is a little bit greedy, but obviously we know we like to do these kinds of plays. Yone is rotating over. We dodge a stun from the Jhin. No flash on the Nami because we burned it. That's a dead Nami because Wingborne Storm do be flying. Watch out for the bush play here. Be careful. Okay. Oh, no, never mind. We see her. I'm done. Perfect. We can run away. So when you kill the Elise here, she executes, and you want to go in a jungle, you're not going to get all three camps. I like to start with the two highest value, Krugs, and of course the red. I'm okay leaving the Raptors. Also, if you are worried that she's going to come straight to the red, do the red, then into the Raptors, so you avoid the bottom lane play, and then you can run into the river. 2 out of 3, depending on the angles, depending who it is, depending what's going to happen, that's how you can play it. But, again, a lot of this is really interesting because it's just random stuff that's occurring. She's doing things, I'm like, oh, I expect her to do this. Oh, she's not doing it. You got to react to it and play around it. Again, Nami shows up here. Flash will be available now. Okay, let's look at this because it got a little crazy as I started to play it through. I just wanted to go through it slowly. The Nami's now moved back up here. Her flash is now available again. Ours is not, okay? We obviously have here the Elise collapsing on the Irelia with Darius. You've got to assess the numbers advantage in this particular situation and assess if you can do the ganks in the fights or not. Again, I'm not willing to die for the grubs, but this is where you really want to use your Wingborne Storm as well as your Awaken. And here we've got a numbers advantage, right? The problem is we have a level 4 Soraka. She's grossly behind you because of all those skirmishing. That's what I don't like. Now we're trapped in this pit here. Aurelia flashes to the back of the pit, so she's going to die. Now we're thinking, okay, maybe we can do stuff. Problem is Nami's huge. Darius is huge. Elise's mobility is able to get one. We're actually just able to kill her back. But Yone really wasn't in that position to dominate that fight as he should have been. And basically the big problem there is we didn't quite have the juice to necessarily win that fight. And we had Landry's in pocket. So that's where you have to decide as the UDYR here after Wolves, is this actually a fight I want to do even if I'm up 2 levels, or should I just cut it and take the dragon? You know, it looks like people are willing to really go to great lengths to get these grubs, which of course is fine. But you know me, I don't want to spend 2 minutes on grubs 1, and I don't want to spend another 30 seconds potentially dying on grubs 2. It looked like a decent fight, but then you see the Aurelia is actually losing now. You know, Soraka was level 4 at the time. You had itemization you didn't yet buy. It's just... it doesn't sit well, right? There's got to be that gut feeling in certain cases. Why is Darius now deciding to do this? I mean, look, you see what the difference Leandris does there? Absolutely massive. We got 5 into R at this particular point, 2 into W. The W is massive against things like Darius because obviously, you know, percentage damage from the Elise and bleed damage and shields are kind of useful there. So we want to play around that. Soraka is just like, please can I get ultimate? Elise shows up, snacks the Scuttle Crab, wants help here, but Victor's low, wants to go back to base. The Nami's also going back to base. So she gives it up, which is the exact right play here. We are able now to dominate this quadrant. Elise, in theory, could just go to the dragon. I think she's trying to she's banking on her timers here, her innate timers, or the Vayne being particularly dumb. Looks like a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Cutting the wave. Here comes Jhin. There's the Nami. Bubble misses. Execute. Thank you so much. Oh, repel to avoid. UDYR's now on the top side. There's a hook. There's a stun. There's a Wingborne Storm activation. Oh, you know. Great champion. Anyway, we're still alive, so we'll just keep going. We'll kill everybody. UDYR is almost like... He's almost like a secondary character in this game. We're talking about everything else other than him. And all of a sudden you look at it, you're like, guy's level 10, 7,500 gold in 14 minutes, 6,000 to target, at least hit 6,000. Like, she's where she needs to be, but she's level 8. The UDYR is level 10 with 1,500 gold advantage. Oh, and Herald's available. Oh, you know, I'll just give this up, who cares? Of course, that's the right idea for most objectives. I'll give it up, who cares? That's exactly what you want to do. This is why UDYR is so good. Sequence, look, sequence again. Get those ganks up before the enemy's able to get there because you're faster than them. Take the skirmishes that make sense, take the ganks that make sense, rotate where it makes sense. Don't obsess over the grubs as much potentially, but he has Leandries, and people die. Because you still have this, right? You still have this. The claw stuns, you can see that there. You still get that juice, that steroid, the max HP physical damage, right? You don't get the empowerment from it because you're not building AD, but you have everything you need in order to still stun, cleanse if you want to use Awakened if you need to do that. R, extra percentage HP here on the R as well with the Wingborne Storm, max HP damage as well on that one. Just slowly following people around and slowing them. The kit is everything. So provided you are understanding the build variation you're going in terms of what you actually want to achieve, the sky's the limit for you, really. Because remember a little bit with UDYR and the AD variety, you're more a pick-based champion, right? You're not going to do these kinds of AoE grub fights or this top lane AoE grub fight. You're looking for the pick, max HP, awakened, max HP, a Q, awakened Q, max HP, evisceration, destroying people after the stun, and that's it, right? That's what you're looking to do. Picks, turrets, small skirmishes. You're not looking for these AoE fights. Whereas this build is just designed for that. And obviously here, the thing that we put on the thumbnail that's the curveball, we've gone for the Rift Maker. We've gone for the significantly more sustained, heavy, damage-focused UDYR AD variety. AP variety. I'm confusing them because I've been doing too many. But we have such a big gold advantage and experience. Look at this. There's a stun. We're doing Awakened Wingborne Storm. There we go. We obviously have the Q that we can use as well. Guys, it gets eviscerated single target damage. It still does a lot. And the Wingborne Storm is doing more than enough. Massive. Massive, massive, massive. That was basically a pick, by the way, as well. And with a jungler, that's just being shilling. There's at least hits a stun. Of course, we have our W that we can use as necessary. There's Yone going in. We're going to try and get going. Remember, you are squishy here. There's the Awakened W for extra shielding. And look at the damage. They're stun and kiting in and out, in and out. Look, the Wingborne Storm, burn damage, and the lifesteal or Omnivamp, as it were, from the Rift Maker doing massive things. A lot of HP still on the build. I don't know what to tell you. It's just so good. It's just so good. Not this build necessarily. This is a good UDYR that's really far ahead, that understands the limits of in and out gameplay and knows when to use the W sheet, which has now got 4 points in it, 6 points into the R. Yeah, don't default to this. It's good, but don't default to it. But the reason why I've been talking about the AP tank variety is because you can't go that extra step. I mean, obviously we're at what now, 18%? I think I saw 18% max health magic damage on this one. Soraka is level 8. She's in the game, I guess. And now, what you do is, with your 1800 cash money gold, we're going to go back to base, buy the Spectre's Cowl. Now we can pull tank. There's no real reason to go further. It's not like AD. You can, but at that point, you're kind of taking the piss a bit. It's better just to say, look, everybody dies. There's Elise. Look at that. The slow is obscene already just from the R. And now Darius shows up. We have the Soraka behind us. And we have, obviously, Yone behind us. Sorry, that's a Vayne, not a Yone. Edgelords all look the same to me. I do not discriminate against Edgelords. Vayne is playing the hit game League of Legends, I think. There's a heal from the Darius. He's going to hook us in there. Wingborne Storm. Look at the follow and the tick damage. Boom! Do we have stats in this one? No, right, games. Give it back. 2,000 Leandries, though. And really, in the meantime, just pushing this. That's why the 2 grubs are kind of valuable, even if you didn't get more than that. Ideally, we wanted 4. We only got 2. I don't think it was worth the deaths that we had, but, you know, such is life. So, Edgelord number 2, mid laner, is pushing bottom wave. We'll take that one. We're taking this one. Well, we got 3 Edgelords, technically. 913, unstoppable there with the Awakened E, so we can run away. Soraka's in a little bit of a bind, I think. I don't think I would have tried to save her there. I think it's very important that you actively try and not save her. He just gets... that's funny. Just gets in the Herald, runs away, decides to turn. Yone rotates up and I mean, as I said, let her die. But this was apparently just a big brain play that I did not see. We obviously have the Yone flanking over. We have the guy jumping in the Herald, which is just exquisitely genius. Then we get the knock up there, followed by the Yone. So you know what? I'll take it back. That was actually genius. And it was. This is definitely premeditated. Someone understood this. I'm trying to caution you guys to let the Soraka die. By the time I got that lesson out, we turned and kill everybody. If Yone's not coming, and you don't have a Herald, let her die. Conditions. Double charge again. We'll get the turret here. Now you can decide based upon the comp you have, the comp you're facing. Do you want to get... We got a triple charge here. Oh! Oh! Ambitious. If you're gonna do it, just go to that one. Regardless, nicely done. Dragons available. Not too concerned about the dragons. I would rather steal all their camps and deny experience. We want the Scuttle Crab for sure. And we can just start this sucker up because we have the build to do so. Obviously, in these particular builds, you decide if you want to go with, Force of Nature. You decide if you want to go with Abyssal. Or you decide if you want to go with Deadman's or Frozen Heart. Rest in peace, Frozen Heart. A lot of different tank double options. You could try the Unending Despair Spirit Visage tech. That's not really for UDYR though. But if you're not playing UDYR, you're playing like a Warwick or a Mundo. It's my Mundo build that I bring over to Warwick, and the Warwick's the coach, we kind of try it out. Some like it, some don't, some prefer different combinations. I like the combination, I think it's quite funny. He's gonna die, and then you don't die. Regardless, 2.8k gold. Back to base, we finished up the Spirit Visit. Well, in this, actually, yes, true. In this case, we do have Riftmaker. I'm thinking about just regular AP. So we have Riftmaker, so the Spirit Visage makes a lot more sense. And now we are going a bit more AP. Again, the reason for this is we have a Gargantuan lead, the size of Gargantua black hole. Bit of mythology there. Bottom side, the Vayne is using the Baron, and we're pushing in. So again, with anything with the lead, you can build a lot of stuff. I know people look at these games sometimes and think, I too can build that, and then they're behind 5,000 gold to build Morellos. Don't do that. We have such a big lead here, you could build mostly anything and still be pretty damn good. Ideally, go into your armor itemization that you need to face the Darius and the Jhin if they are fed. Obviously, in both cases here, they're not fed. You could just go for the Thormail against Darius. He is fighting you. You are fighting him. Does work also. Just thinking out loud for your itemization is always good, even in game. So the root into the hook into the Doom play, and you're like, guy, he dies. Bottom lane takes this one. You're just basically floating with, playing with your food, basically. That's fine. All right. We get 2 inhibs. We'll fall back to the red. You can just go to the dragon. If you want to, you can set up a pick here. Actually, you know what's funny? Sometimes I have the toggle like this for a while just to talk and I forget. And I want to put it back to the red team. I actually thought it was on both because of how pushed in the map was. 23 minutes. Catch the wave. I mean, they're going to be slowly starved. There's no ways they can face check this UDYR. This guy's a 4-level lead over the Elise. It's all predicated on him understanding he has a clearing advantage, using it well. And a little greedy here, but the build does do ridiculous amounts of damage. Look at the flashes being burned, the damage over time being used. Push this one here. Aurelie gets another kill. And we will simply close this baby out. Obviously, use your Q if necessary for attack speed onto the turrets. Make sure they fall. And with the Riftmaker, with the lead you have, with the Nami, with the Spirit Visage, which is already healed, bonus shielding, 1,000 bonus shielding. That is, sometimes the boomer brains of us who have played this game a long time forget that they did that, but that's one of the other reasons we love this thing. Shielding and healing was one of the best changes they brought forward to Spirit Visage. So here, yeah. Funny game, good game, shows you a lot about how to think in the jungle, but also a little bit of risk and reward, right? Do we actually fight this or back away? Or do I actually, my Yona is rotating, let's just make an outplay here. There is a swing of a pendulum every game with this. There's no straight up black and white scenario where you definitely don't fight, you definitely do fight. Process that information, understand your champion's limitations, itemize intelligently, and jungle like a beast, and you will climb.